Reilly here. Welcome to the No Spin News, Tuesday, January 16th, 2024. Stand up for your country. So I didn't get into a fight. All right. I got this, that. Everybody, all right. Okay. Skin cancer stuff. Boy, it's the bane of my life. And I got the stupid cold. It's getting better, but it's still, you can hear it, so, and I'm not whining, by the way. I am not a whiner, but I've had 9 precancers cut off my body. And this morning at about 7:10 a.m., I had 4 more. Oh, it was unbelievable. Not that painful, but it's the trauma, Even the terror dog, Holly the terror dog, when I came back, felt sorry for me. He was following me around the house. But anyway, I'm going to tell you about this procedure because you yourself have to go to the dermatologist. If you're over 50, you got to go. And it will save your life if you do. So politics is the subject of this evening's Talking Points Memo. Okay, so nobody's surprised, right? Everybody knew Trump was going to win the Iowa caucus. We have the stats in a moment. It's MAGA territory out there. Republicans in Iowa are very conservative, a lot of evangelicals. I knew from the jump that Donald Trump had no problem there. He knew, he didn't even spend a lot of money, that he was going to win. But does it matter? I've got an expert. We'll talk about that. So the Wall Street Journal, which is a conservative editorial page, and they despise Joe Biden. They know how much he's hurting the country. They don't like Trump, the Wall Street Journal, okay? And so they are calling, just about an hour ago, for DeSantis to get out of the race. Because the Wall Street Journal wants Nikki Haley to go mano a mano with Donald Trump and hopefully derail Trump. So Haley would be the nominee. Polling shows that Haley could beat Joe Biden fairly handily. So that's what the Wall Street Journal wants. Now, it's an interesting saga about Ron DeSantis. In the beginning, he was pretty strong. He runs the state of Florida very well, with the exception of the insane book situation we told you about this week, where John Grisham, Stephen King, Bill O'Reilly, the biggest sellers in the country, have had their books removed from a county because of this law that DeSantis signed, and DeSantis MIA. You don't want to hear about it, which is very telling. But anyway, DeSantis had a chance to go up against Trump, and it didn't work out. And I'll tell you why in a moment. Trump himself does not fear Nikki Haley one-on-one. He doesn't. And he doesn't have much of regard for Ron DeSantis. But last night, after the results were announced, here's what the former president said.
I want to congratulate Ron and Nikki for having a good time together. We're all having a good time together. And I think they both actually did very well. I really do.
Ron and Nikki, we're all having a good time. Anybody buy that? Anybody? I actually laughed when he said, I said, oh yeah. So this is the gracious Donald Trump, the winner. Okay. Does it matter? No, it doesn't matter. So last night, Trump got 51% of the vote, DeSantis 21%, Haley 19%. About 110,000 votes were cast. Ramaswamy immediately got out of the race, and he endorses Trump. Haley goes to New Hampshire in pretty good shape. She's got $12 million in her treasury, and she'll get more. And New Hampshire's a friendly place for her. I don't know, DeSantis, he doesn't even go to New Hampshire today. He goes to South Carolina because he knows he's going to get waxed in New Hampshire. But it looks to me like DeSantis is going to try to hang until South Carolina. Okay, I mean, it's his call. So I was on News Nation last night analyzing the returns for Iowa. And here's what I said about the DeSantis campaign. Go. There was never any doubt in my mind that Trump would win the MAGA people in Iowa. I mean, it's his place. And you add to that the fact that Ron DeSantis, who had a shot, is probably the worst campaigner since Herbert Hoover. I put him on a level with Herb. He's a terrible campaigner, DeSantis. He's awful. He's stiff. He doesn't look like he cares about the folks. He can't get his message across without repeating himself 15 times. He's boring. And in this day and age, you can't be boring. And that'll be the best analysis you get of the Ron DeSantis campaign. Now, to be fair, and I always want to be fair, it's very difficult to campaign on a national level against a monster like Donald Trump. Trump is an entertainer, okay? He's steeped in that. He knows how to do that, and he loves it. Trump loves to get up there and rile the crowd. He's a populist. The more feedback he gets from the audience, the more outrageous things he said, and they're yelling, they're screaming. I mean, I did 4 shows with him. I know. He loves it, Donald Trump. That's why he says crazy things, to get a reaction from the crowd. It's not like he's thinking about repercussions of what he says. He's not. He just wants to get the crowd riled up. And I know that because I know the guy as well as anybody does. DeSantis does not like the public part of campaigning. And that's just his personality. But he's up against this tremendous charismatic figure, Trump. And he just gets wiped out because he just doesn't look like he's having a good time. So when Trump says Nikki and Ron were all having a good time, Ron's not having a good time. Nikki may be. She's a little more comfortable in the campaign mode. But that's what killed DeSantis. And Trump's message is not only I ran the country well, and you know if you watch this program that I believe that for 4 years, but if you put me back there, I'm going to go after these woke DEI, open border, far left progressive, George Soros movement. I'm going after them. That separates him from Haley and DeSantis. And MAGA people want that. And that's the truth. All right, so what happens now? So Trump segues over to New Hampshire, not a friendly place for him. New Hampshire's primary is a week from tonight. They set it up so that if you are a registered independent in New Hampshire, you can vote for anybody. You can become a registered independent when you go to the poll. You don't have to register in advance. Did you know that? You just walk in next Tuesday night and go, look, I'm a Democrat on the rolls, but I'm changing. And they go, okay. So the primary is going to be flooded with Democrats who vote for Haley because they hate Trump. This is already underway. People are being visited and told exactly what to do. Okay? Big money pouring into New Hampshire to get the Democrats to vote for Haley and injure Trump. That is a key to the New Hampshire primary, and you should understand what is going on up there. Tomorrow, I'm going to tell you a story about when I was in New Hampshire with Barack Obama, the first time he ran against John McCain. Remind me, producers, please put that on a list tomorrow. It's a great story. Might even have some video of it. But anyway, Haley knows that she is going to have a big advantage in New Hampshire. And the press is salivating because they want the story to be, here comes Nikki Haley, she's going to knock Trump off. And that story will happen because it's inconceivable to me, knowing the Granite State the way I do, live free or die, beautiful state. It's inconceivable that Trump is going to do what he did in Iowa. He'll win New Hampshire, I think, but it's not going to be small. Then they go to South Carolina, that's MAGA country. And that's the memo.
Our freedoms should never be taken for granted. They must be cherished, protected, and defended. When corporations pander to the liberal agenda, they must be punished. When corporations stand up for conservative values, they should be supported. This brings me to Freedom 2.0, the bottled water company that proudly represents us. They have hilarious sayings on each bottle like, "This water ain't woke," and "bottled with liberal tears." Use the code BILL for a 15% discount and subscribe to Freedom 2.0. We must never discount freedom, but we can discount water as long as you use the code BILL. Please visit freedom20.com to order now. That's freedom, the number 2, the letter O.com. Freedom20.com, use code BILL for 15% off.
Okay, let's go to the mail. Tony D., College Point, New York. Bill, I don't understand. Last night you stated that if Michelle Obama wants to run for the presidency, Joe Biden will step aside for her for health reasons. How can the Democratic Party sidestep Vice President Kamala Harris? Okay. Biden's not going to step aside unless the money men tell him to. Then he would issue, as Lyndon Johnson did in 1968, say, I'm going to fulfill my first term, but I'm not running for a second term. Okay? Because of health reasons. I got to look out for my family, blah, 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 blah. So Biden's not quitting. He's not running again next November. Then Biden's going to say, if it's in the summer, I'm giving all of my delegates to Michelle Obama if she runs. Harris didn't have any say in any of that. She has no say. She's a vice president. Biden can do what he wants to do. He can give his delegates to anybody he wants. He's not giving them to her because she would get trounced worse than he's going to get trounced. Daniel Kasich, De Pere, Wisconsin. Bill, people keep asking, how can Michelle Obama run for president? I don't have the qualifications at my fingertips, but isn't there a standard set of qualifications posted that need to be met if you run for president of the United States? No. You can run, Daniel, and you might be qualified because you're an American citizen. That's the only qualification. No set of standards. You can run for president if you can get the money and convince the people to vote for you. Kennedy Daniels, Mechanicsville, Virginia. Defending Joe Biden on the basis of parental protection for Hunter's shortcomings is indicative of the softening of American values. My father and yours, Bill, would have never tolerated, much less endorsed, that type of behavior that Hunter has done. I don't think Joe Biden has endorsed Hunter Biden's behavior. He made excuses for it, dodged it, but I don't know if I'm endorsing it, so let's be fair. But, you're right. I mean, my father would have crushed me had I done something like that. Kathleen, I think it unfair to saddle DeSantis with the rogue librarian debacle. My guess, that person is power hungry and needs to be investigated. These books are not harmful to children. It's because the law was too broad. Okay, but why isn't DeSantis speaking out about the abuse of power in that county? Is he afraid? Does he not care that John Grisham, Stephen King, Anne Frank, Bill O'Reilly are being taken out of the school libraries? Does he not care? You're being very generous to him. This guy has a responsibility to police the law he signed, DeSantis. And he won't do it. What does that say about him? I know what it says. And believe me, those school kids in Florida need all the Jesus they can get. Imagine that. Imagine killing Jesus out of the library, the history. It's just beyond belief. Allen. Bill, if they let Hunter Biden off and issue a new subpoena, what's to stop him from taking the fifth when he does testify? Nothing. The subpoena only says you have to appear in a deposition. He wants to take the fifth 100 times, he can. William Cross, West Valley City, Utah. Lately, I am listening to the BBC, and it is beginning to sound like Biden rhetoric that Trump will destroy democracy all over the world. Well, what do you expect the BBC to do? BBC is more liberal than the CBC that we talked about earlier in the broadcast. BBC, come on. I mean, I think the BBC is so pro-Hamas. I'm just shocked. But been going that way for years. Dar Lutz, doctor, sports medicine. Okay, doctor, here we go. We don't want to pay $24 for a sandwich either, so my wife and I buy a pound or a pint of chicken or tuna salad from the deli, take it home, make our own sandwiches. That's right. That's the smart play. But what if you're on the run? And that's what people do for delis. They're racing around. They're going places. They got to get a quick sandwich. Sure. I mean, you're a moron if you buy the crazy price sandwiches at the deli. You just get the ingredients, make your own sandwich. And remember to use sourdough bread. Good for you. But, look, this thing is totally out of control. Believe me. Where I live on Long Island, insane food prices now. BillO'Reilly.com store. Before my books are banned entirely, you might want to buy the whole set, all 13. Great deal. We'll like you a lot if you do. And you read them. I'm getting letters. What should I read them? What order? You go witches. You go Lincoln. I'm sorry. You go witches. You go killing England. You go killing Lincoln. Crazy Horse. That gets you through the first 100 years of the country. All right, and then you read them whenever you want. Those four. So our witches, that's the Mayflower and all of that. Word of the day, do not be parsimonious. 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 Back with the final thought in a moment. Debt. You go to bed and wake up thinking about it. Here is the truth. The system traps you in debt. High interest credit cards and loans make it nearly impossible to pay it off. And insane inflation keeps you stuck paycheck to paycheck. Done with Debt is your lifeline. Done with Debt has a new strategy to help you erase debt faster and easier than you thought. It analyzes all the debt options you qualify for. They know how to reduce bills and cut interest rates. Their skilled staff of negotiators know how to get your debt out of your life without bankruptcy and without a loan. Done with Debt are the experts in brilliant strategies for eliminating debt. Here's how easy they make it. Go to donewithdebt.com. That's donewithdebt.com. Okay, final thought of the day, as I told you up top of the program. And by the way, this is not a podcast. This is a broadcast. I mean, nuts. This is structured like any broadcast, news broadcast you would see anywhere. Podcasts, they kind of sit around in sweaters and a coffee. That's not what we do. All right. So 6:45 a.m. this morning, snowing. I'm in the dermatologist's office. Good guy, excellent doctor. And he puts me under the lights, right? So far, today, I had 9 skin cancer, they call it pre-cancers, removed. So now I have 13 because I had 4 today. My father died from melanoma, age 62. And my philosophy is you don't fight DNA. Get some in your family, your bloodline, You got to pay attention to that. You got to be proactive to that. Okay, I'm in. I know it's going to be an ordeal. And I got a cold. So there he is, and he's going, and that's always bad news. So here we go, right here. We got over here. We got another one on my face, but the makeup artist is so good you can't see it. And then on my ankle, got a big one. Okay, I don't care about the ankle. I'm very vain. But my point is that you have to go to the dermatologist. I mean, the stats are it's not, the American Cancer Society puts out stats. And it says about 5.4 million squamous cells are removed from people every year in America. That's a lot. And most people don't even bother with it. And then you got to go in and this and that, and you got to do it. All right? I'm fair, blue eyes. If you're in that zone, then you got to do it now. All right? If you're a little darker and all of that, you have an advantage. But I'm telling you, don't play around with this stuff. The sun is very intense, particularly you guys live in Arizona and Texas and Florida and down south. The sun is crazy. And I'm not a sun guy. The problem with me was I was a lifeguard in my teenage years. And I played baseball and football, and the football you had the helmet, but I was always out there in the sun. And boom. So anyway, we need you. We need you around. Go to the dermatologist. Thanks for watching and listening to the No Spin News. See you tomorrow. Thank you for watching the No Spin News. To watch the full episode anytime on BillO'Reilly.com, please sign up to become a premium or concierge member. Visit BillO'Reilly.com to sign up and start watching today.